The crime seen today in New York City is reminiscent of the bad days when crime ran rampant in the Big Apple. In this special edition of Crime in the City, we travel back to the 1970s, a time of gangs, murders, and chaos in the heart of New York City. This is Crime in the City, the 70s, Manhattan edition. We begin our journey to the 1970s in the summer of '77, when a blackout caused complete chaos in East Harlem, and the community spiraled into disorder.
Well, there is absolutely no doubt about one thing concerning this blackout. There was terror in a lot of neighborhoods last night. Police have described the looters as animals. Thousands were arrested, 78 policemen injured, one of them shot in the leg. He's okay. Steve Bauman was in the thick of things shortly after it broke out.
Like a swarm of locusts is the way one Harlem cop described the looters, ripping through whole blocks of stores within a couple of hours after the lights went out. Hundreds of off-duty officers called in and were back on patrol in about the same time, but the packs of roving thieves hit so many places at once in some areas that countless stores were stripped bare before police arrived. Harlem, the Bronx-Fordham section, Bedford-Stuyvesant and Brooklyn, and Jamaica Queens were among the hardest hit. From midnight till shortly before dawn, along many main shopping streets, the cops were so outnumbered they often settled for retrieving bits of stolen merchandise dropped by the crooks on the run. Even inside the stores, while police sought to secure any goods which remained, looters popped up from behind counters and raced back out to the blackness. Windows were smashed, metal gates ripped away, and the streets filled with silhouettes carrying away whatever they'd grabbed. City officials already say the losses from damage and theft are astronomical, easily in the hundreds of millions of dollars. For the most part, the looters simply ran when the police arrived, but in Spanish Harlem at about 2 a.m., the roving looters began heaving rocks and bottles at the cops, and it took a fusillade of warning shots to disperse them.
You can. Half of the way now.
Where you from? The New?
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch your heads over here, man.
They shooting
all
at you?
kinds of shit and everything. Shoot them, they're not good. Shoot them.
The fire department hasn't even counted the exact number of blazes throughout the city, but there have been at least 600, many of them deliberately set. The fires created added confusion, which worked to the looters' advantage. At the intersection of Broadway and Hancock Street in Brooklyn, the day's first light revealed a wide-open distribution depot of stolen goods and a street scene that looked like a Calcutta market. Hundreds of bundles of every size being casually taken away by a mass of people with no one paying for anything. The wide-open stealing continued throughout the day, though the intensity diminished after early morning. The streets of Spanish Harlem were covered with debris and damaged merchandise scattered by the looters. Many merchants managed to save some of their goods by standing overnight vigil at their shops with shotguns and pistols. But most arrived too late to salvage much. For hundreds of shopkeepers, the blackout of 1977 has meant financial disaster.
I think 20 guys must have taken this gate. And a little at a time, from what the neighbors in the neighborhood told me, every time there were no police cars in the area, they pulled a little more. When the police cars came, they ran away. And it took about 3-4 hours to finally get the gate open. And fortunately, they caught 4 guys. I don't know what the outcome will be.
More than 2,000 people were arrested overnight and at least another 600 during today. The charges against most are burglary and grand larceny, but according to veteran officers we spoke with, felony convictions are going to be very difficult because of the chaotic circumstances surrounding the arrests. That and the huge drain on the courts will likely result in the acceptance of guilty pleas to minor offenses. Early this evening, Governor Carey turned down Mayor Beam's request that the National Guard be put on alert. Carey says he believes at this time the city police have control of the situation. But 250 state troopers were brought into the city at 8 this evening. They'll be directing traffic to free up city cops for patrol duties.
In the '70s, gangs ran wild, and the violence from organized crime surged in the streets of Manhattan.
He was a Teamsters union official, and police suspected he knew a lot about the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. Last night he was walking in Little Italy when 2 gunmen started shooting and left him dying. Gabe has more on that story.
The tenements are closely packed on Mulberry Street near Grand. There are many windows, but police found it difficult today to find many witnesses. Salvatore Briguglio was the business agent of Teamster Local 560, a union in which Anthony Tony Provenzano had a major role. Provenzano had been feuding with Hoffa before the Teamster leader disappeared. Briguglio was gunned down outside Benito's restaurant. It was shortly after 11 last night. The scene just 1 block north of Umberto's Clam House, where gangster Joseph Joey Gallo was assassinated just 6 years ago. Briguglio, police said, had not been inside Benito's. Exactly where he was coming from, not determined. 2 men appeared. They started to argue with Briguglio, pushed him into the street, fired 5 shots into him, and fled, possibly on foot, although there was a report the men had taken off in a car on Grand Street. The head of Manhattan homicide had no doubts about the nature of the crime.
Well, it looks to me as if it was a hit, just as we know, as a hit would get down.
And as far as the motivation is concerned, you have no idea now?
We don't have any idea. Our people are out right now speaking to the Federal Strike Force out in Newark and to the other people who possibly might have information on this gentleman.
Was Briguglio shot because he knew too much? Was he shot because he threatened to talk about what he knew? Many windows on Mulberry Street, few leads. Briguglio, his brother Gabriel, and a third man, Thomas Andretta, were questioned intensively by police in the investigation of the kidnapping and apparent murder of Hoffa. We approached some people on Mulberry Street. Did anyone see what happened? Did they see it from the windows?
Not that I know of. No, the detectives investigated us already. They went over our buildings here.
Yeah.
They did investigate us.
And nobody saw anything? Another gangland-style killing on the Lower East Side. The batting average for solution of such crimes is very poor, and privately, police are quite pessimistic that they'll be able to solve this murder or the related crime, the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. This is Gabe Pressman, Channel 5 News on Mulberry Street.
In May of 1979, the city and the nation were shaken to their core when ETAN PATZ, a young boy, disappeared.
Police have another investigation in progress now. This one, a search centered in Lower Manhattan for a 6-year-old boy who disappeared yesterday.
6-year-old Ethan PATZ left home to go to school early yesterday morning. He never got there. Police have scoured a mile-square area around Greenwich Village in Soho, checking rooftops, alleyways, and rear yards, but the young boy's sudden disappearance is still a mystery.
He was seen yesterday morning on his way to the school bus. We've determined that he didn't take the school bus, and he was seen sometime yesterday afternoon after 4 o'clock in the neighborhood.
What do his parents say about him? Has he ever done anything like this before?
No, not at all. He seems to be a pretty good kid, and there doesn't seem to be any reason for it.
Eaton used to make one stop every day, the corner candy store. Juan Santana was one of the last people to see the boy. He says Eaton was in the company of a little girl. When did you last see the boy?
Thursday.
Who was he with? He was with another boy?
Another girl, the girl.
Did you see him every day?
I see him every day. Take the bus over here.
You think he's the kind of kid who would run away?
I don't know. In this way, I can tell you.
After an exhaustive search using helicopters and bloodhounds over a 20-square block area of Manhattan, police have so far drawn a blank, and the search continues. At this point, they are asking your help in locating this boy. If you have seen the boy in this picture, they ask you to call 334-0611. That number again, 334-0611. From Soho, John Miller, Channel 5 News.
ETAN was one of the first missing children to be featured on milk cartons. His body was never found, and he was declared legally dead on June 19, 2001. In 2017, Pedro Hernandez was found guilty of kidnapping and killing ETAN and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. William Morales, a convicted terrorist, does the unthinkable. He escapes from Bellevue Hospital despite the loss of his hands due to an explosive bomb-making accident.
To some people, William Morales is a freedom fighter. But to most, he is a terrorist, blowing up buildings and killing and maiming innocent people in the name of Puerto Rican independence. He was finally found last July in Queens, making a bomb that blew up in his face and tore off his hands. He was sentenced to spend 89 years in jail. But early this morning, he escaped from Bellevue Hospital.
It seems almost incredible that with both hands missing, Willie Morales could have lowered himself from a third-story window and vanished from the Bellevue prison ward. No escape ladder was found, just a flimsy bandage allegedly used for the 40-foot drop. Police also found a pair of 1.5-foot metal cutters with which Morales sliced through the metal screen on his window. All this with only one thumb intact and part of a palm.
Police say the last time the guards are certain they saw Willie Morales was at 2:30 this morning when he got up to use the bathroom. Afterwards, they say they saw a form in the bed as late as 5:30 in the morning. But when we spoke to the police today, they weren't able to pinpoint exactly when he might have escaped.
Well, the nearest we're going to find out right now is that the screen was cut. It was pushed out. There was an ace bandage tied onto the bed. He attempted to come down. It looks like he may have fallen at the time, halfway down, and landed in the bushes over there.
As the guards combed the area directly below the escape window, they discovered a pair of rubber slippers which probably belonged to the prisoner, as well as some bandages and a packet of pens and pencils. Right now, an alert is out for Willie Morales, and as you can see, after the explosion, his face was badly scarred. Earlier today, Commissioner William Curo said he was suspending Correction Officer William Ryan without pay for negligence in permitting the escape. Curo said he was not ruling out anything, including the possibility that members of his own department might have played a part in helping Morales escape. He also said that a foreign government could have been involved in the scheme. I'm Aida Alvarez, Channel 5 News.
Morales was discovered to have fled to Mexico, where he was captured and handed to Cuban authorities. He is believed to still be there and remains on the FBI's most wanted list to this day. In the 70s, no neighborhood was immune from crime. The once quiet Chinatown was rocked by the attempted murder of a notorious gang leader.
There was a time when Chinatown was one of the most quiet and hospitable communities in our city. But like other parts of the town, Chinatown has changed. Gangs are a big problem there. We haven't heard too much from them lately. Not since a member of the Ghost Shadows tried to kill the unofficial mayor of Chinatown. Last night, someone tried to kill the leader of that gang. Here's a report from Aida Alvarez.
70 Mott Street that Nicky Louis was shot. He was hanging out at a neighborhood social club when the attacker pumped 4 bullets into his body. Police say an Oriental male in his 20s fled the scene, but not before shooting Louis twice in the back of the head, in his elbow, and in his back.
The shooting took place at 9:45 last night. Despite his injuries, Nicky Louis stumbled around the corner to the police precinct. There they know him well because Louis is the head of the notorious Ghost Shadows gang. For a long time, that gang controlled most of the gambling in Chinatown. But now police say they've cracked down on all the hardcore gambling establishments. In the process, the gang has split up. It's Nicky Louis' faction with its out-of-town connections against the New York faction.
Do you think there may be other eruptions of violence now?
Well, that's always a possibility. However, we really don't expect it. We have a special task force that'll be monitoring all of the known gang members. We have developed very good communications with other cities in Boston, Chicago, Toronto, and they will be monitoring their gang populations for us also. And I think we'll be able to sit on it pretty well. However, there's always a possibility of retaliation if this was in fact gang-related.
Police say the gang task force is out combing the streets looking for clues in this shooting. In the meantime, if you have any information, the number to call is 334-0742. Any information you provide will be kept confidential. From the 5th Precinct on Elizabeth Street, this is Aida Alvarez, Channel 5 News.
Sometimes the public says, enough is enough. On New Year's Eve in 1979, a group of New Yorkers who were fed up with crime looked to take matters into their own hands.
Well, thousands of people are taking advantage of this terrific weather. They're jamming into Times Square tonight to welcome the new year. Unfortunately, some criminals are doing the same thing. They want to start the new year just the way they finished up this year, by stealing and beating up people.
Of course, it's New Year's Eve, and who wants to think about crime? But police tell us the one thing muggers are planning on tonight is the happy-go-lucky partygoer who most likely will be victimized. That's why the city's cops have decided on a plan of action, at least for the Times Square area. The heart of the plan involves dividing the crowd into manageable sections. Today, men were busy unloading the barricades to implement the plan. Police are stationing themselves inside the barricades from 42nd to 46th Streets. The idea will be to lock in the crooks so that police can apprehend them more easily. But there's at least one group of citizens who believes that even more security is needed. They call themselves the Guardian Angels. They're a vigilante group of sorts, and this is their plan for tonight.
Well, we have a patrol of 120 members of the Guardian Angels that will augment the police that are going to be on the scene when the wall drops down and beckons in the new year. 60 Guardian Angels shall be in the crowd, and they will be the decoys. They will be wearing gold medallions. They will be wearing nice clothes. They will be wearing the types of things that a mugger might go after a person for. And if they are to catch the mugger in action, either against themselves or against someone who's in the area, they will make a citizen's arrest and turn them over to the police. So you'll have 60 who will be in the red beret and the shirt, and 60 who will be decoys amongst the crowd.
There are those who feel these are very troubled times indeed when citizens resort to taking the law into their own hands. Our advice to you is, if you're planning on being here tonight, keep a good eye out for your own valuables. From Times Square, Aida Alvarez, Channel 5 News.
That's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.